This episode is brought to you by Video Theater. Video Theater, Idaho's oldest video rental store with 2 locations for your convenience in Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls.
Oh my God, kids, we're back. It's VHS Tapes of Magic. I'm your wonderful darling, redheaded beard host, Matt McCarthy, king of all physical media. Thank you for being here. Very excited. This month, I'm talking to Josh Schafer. He's the owner and operator of Lunchmeat magazine, lunchmeatvhs.com, everything Lunchmeat. It started as a great zine in 2008, and, just a great indie publication celebrating VHS tapes and video stores and video culture, and they review movies that are VHS only and do great interviews with people from the video era and artists from the video era, and they do deep dives and in-depth articles about filmmaking from the era and gimmicks of the era and just everything VHS and video stores, and celebrating it, preserving it, and everything in that orbit. And I also made my way to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and talked with Janice Turk, the owner and operator of Video Theater, the oldest video store in Idaho, and had a great conversation with her. And also we are going to learn about Cartravision, the first home video system. So very excited. This is going to be a great, fun time. And in the meantime, if you don't already, you can also follow me on all forms of social media at McCarthy Redhead. My TikTok and my Instagram are the place where I am, showcasing VHS tapes in my collection, collecting used blanks, just going through all those tapes that I find, that I buy, that are sent to me. If you ever want to send me one. There's a P.O. box in the description of this show you're listening to right now. Hopefully you're hearing this on Spotify. I am doing a lot of troubleshooting to try to figure out why. I don't know why the show isn't populating on that app. And it's only the most popular place for people to listen to podcasts. So my Patreon, also in the description of this show. If you want to join that, it's $5 a month. You get a membership card to the Video Movie Club. You get to be a card-carrying member of the Video Garage. They're all individually numbered. They're signed. They're laminated. It's a one-man show. I make each one by hand, alone, by myself. So it has been slow going, but everybody's been very patient with that. But in the meantime, you do get access to my Google Drive, which is fast approaching 4 terabytes of digitized VHS tapes of, found footage. It's mostly stuff just taped off TV. And it is tremendous. And I put up everything that I watch on my TikTok, winds up getting digitized and put in one of the folders at the end of every month. And it's a good time. You can also get t-shirts at the store at prowrestlingtees.com. The link is also in the description of the show. And if you have any funny stories or interesting stories about going to the video stores, or if you ever worked at a video store and you have some anecdotes, if you just want to pass them along to me, if you want me to give you credit, if you want them to be anonymous, whatever it is, I would just love to hear the stories and maybe pick a few and share them. And we have an email set up for that. It's the Video Movie Club at gmail.com. So hit me up over there as well. So in the meantime, we're going to jump into our interviews and the rest of the show. And as always, thank you to the inimitable Mike Doty for the amazing music you hear throughout the show. And my beautiful and talented wife, Glennis McCarthy, who opens the show with her professional voice every week. So, without further ado, kids, it's time for VHS Tapes is Magic. VHS Tapes is Magic. VHS Tapes They is magic. They are magic. And here we go. Do you remember the first time you went to a video store, or was it? How old are you? Did you just grow up with it already there, or what?
Yeah, it was always there. I mean, I don't remember the first time I went to a video store, but I do have a first video store memory that I related in Stuck on VHS, which is a book I did with Jackie Lawrence. But basically, Ninja Turtles was coming out on video. So you can trace that back. I think it's like 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And, Michelangelo was going to be at the video store, dude. Like, he was going to be there.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, this is a guy in a suit, but I mean, for any 6 year, like, I think it was 5 or 6 or something. And like for any 5 or 6 year old, any Ninja Turtle is a real Ninja Turtle. Like that is really Mikey out there. And, we were all outside and we're all taking pictures with him. And I remember there was like a nunchucking competition. And
Okay.
I brought my like flea market dirt mall. Remember those like plastic kind of styrofoam nunchucks you would buy?
Very well. Yeah.
Yeah, I had those, and I went up there and I did my thing, and then I accidentally hit myself in the face with them. But I did the whole routine, and I got a round of applause, and Mikey high fived me, and we went home and ate pizza and watched the Turtles on video, and it was a great day.
That's tremendous. What was the video store?
That was called Video Vision.
Okay. Where was this?
Upper Deerfield, New Jersey. It's a place called Carl's Corner, which is it's like a shopping center. It's right on the edge of Upper Deerfield in Bridgeton, New Jersey.
I love it. How many different I mean, was that your main video store growing up, or was there there must have been a lot of different choices, probably.
There were different choices for sure. So I mean, like there were like micro video stores everywhere, right? Because
Yeah.
gas stations and sub shops and all had video selections and video game selections. Video Vision was an actual video store, so we went there a lot, and there was a McDonald's right next to it. So it was just like a perfect Friday, like mom and dad swoop through, and we grab the videos and we grab the McDonald's, and then we go home, and that was the ritual. But there were other video stores. I had an award video, West Coast Video, but those were all in Vineland. Those were far, so we never rented them. When I went to my grandma's house, I would go to those because she lived in Vineland. So, um, but I mean, no, it was mainly Video Vision, and then Franco's, which was a sub shop, had video game rentals and video rentals. I mean, back in the '90s, I mean, everybody was renting videos. If you had a
Right.
shelf space, you could rent videotapes. Yeah.
Um which one of them, or maybe this is when you got a little bit older, which one of them was like, "Oh, this is the weirdos. This is, these are the weird videos."
Oh, I am the weirdo, Mister. I went in there and found my shit. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And like, no, there was no, there was. I mean, like,
Th-
I'm from a small town, small farming town
uh-huh.
in South Jersey. So I mean, it was really just about going in there. Like I was in the horror section. That's
Yeah.
where I lived, because the Nintendo rentals were right next to it. But I went to Video Vision a lot. That was our local video store in Upper Deerfield, Bridgeton. Yeah.
Because I know in Providence, in Rhode Island, like there was Acme Video. It was like, oh, that's the place where it's not going to be the shit that's at Blockbuster or Major Video. It's like this is where young people. But this was my perception of it. This
Sure.
was the younger crowd, the cooler. Like, oh, what is this? This
Right.
is not normal. Whereas,
Um,
like,
yeah.
yeah, was there a place like that?
No, no. I
No.
remember if you were thinking like there was a lot in Philly, which is like 45 minutes over the bridge.
Uh huh.
I know Beau Arts was a video store that was doing that sort of thing, and but I was too young then. In 95, I was 10. So I mean, like I was just too young.
Hmm.
So I mean, but that there was no like weirdo video store. I just went in there and bought all the weirdest stuff I could find, or rented all the weirdest stuff I could find rather.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, spent a lot of time in the M section apparently because I love like Mother's Day, Mausoleum, Microwave Massacre, Mountaintop Motel Massacre. Must have this snapshot in my head because those are where I just got frozen in time of fear. And I must have been just standing in front of the M section because those are the ones that like hit me the most, you know?
That's funny. Like I remember, I have a very clear memory of going through my CDs when uh, CDs were a thing or more of a thing, and just being like, God, all my favorite bands are in the P's. Like it's like Fish, the Police, whatever. I was like, there's a lot of P's here. So maybe
Yeah,
there's
it's
something to
interesting
that.
how that happens, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um. So that was. Did you ever wind up working at a video store or anything?
Okay, so great story.
Okay.
I was looking for a job while I was in high school. And like I said, small town. So there wasn't much around, but we had a Blockbuster. Because Videovision shut down, and then Blockbuster took over. It didn't take over the Videovision store; it just created itself inside of the strip mall. Um, excuse me, I need a cough button. Um, but Blockbuster was in that strip mall, and I was like, "Well, I love movies. I know about movies. I'm
Yeah.
like 17 years old." And I go in there and I'm like, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" And then the person just points, and there's a little kiosk where you have to go over. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that's the interview process. You go up to that kiosk and answer questions.
Like a computer screen.
Exactly. It was like a computer kiosk, and you would go up, and it's like, would you like to work at Blockbuster? And you're like, yes. And
Was there the
they're like, I don't
option of?
remember what the other.
Yeah. Could you choose no?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that you have to walk away, right? You're like, are you messing with me? Like your computer kiosk gets pissed at you. I mean, I just remember I answered like maybe 3 or 4 questions, and then
Yeah.
it was like, sorry, we're not interested in at this time. And I was like, what the hell?
Wow. Any
Uh,
recollection what the questions were like? Like,
Man, I can't remember. But I
yeah.
mean, I can't remember, but I remember they were really dumb. I remember it was like really confusing and disappointing, even at 17. And this was like 2002 or something,
Yeah.
and like I was just like, man, this is stupid. Like, how is this even possible? Like, there's no in person interview. You're literally just going up to a kiosk, and so Blockbuster wouldn't hire me. Fast forward years later, I get hired by the Alamo Draft House to come down to Raleigh, North Carolina, and create a video store. So who's laughing now, Blockbuster? But I, I don't know. I don't work with Alamo anymore. I'm no longer associated with them. I did create a video store called Video Vortex for them, with a team of colleagues. But I created like a lot of the branding and all that, curation and handling the floor culture and things like that. So that was fun while it lasted. I did that for about a couple years before, and then pandemic hit,
Hmm.
and the rest is history.
So what made you start the Lunchmeat?
At the time, I was working for Relapse Records, which is a metal record label. And this was about 2004,
Hmm.
2005, 2006. Yeah. So around that time, I was writing for their resource catalog. They had a printed resource catalog that we sent out to thousands of people, and I was interviewing bands, um, writing articles and things like that. And then I started to review. I went up to one of my buyers because I worked in the mail order for Relapse, and I was like, "Why don't we carry horror movies?" Because I was looking. We would buy CDs from MVD and stuff, and they had horror DVDs available. And I was like, we should be carrying these, man. Like, I bet they would sell. And then we tried it. We bought like 4, 5, 6, 7 titles that I recommended, and they started selling. And then in order to support that, I started writing reviews of horror movies in the resource catalog, the Relapse resource catalog. And I was like, man, I really like doing this. This is fun. So and I was like, and then my friend Ted Gilbert, who was working there with me at the time, um, we were really into zines at the time. I had my own little record label, little bedroom record label, and we just wanted to make a zine. And we realized there were so many cool movies that were just available on VHS because this is like 2007, 2008, and VHS was like literal trash at that point. Like
Yeah.
nobody really gave a shit about it. And there was movies just languishing on video because nobody really cared anymore. We're like, hey, like that's when like stuff like Mausoleum wasn't on DVD. Yeah, Blu-ray wasn't even a thing. Um, so we just started writing about those movies because we just wanted to connect with people that also collected videotapes for cheap and liked watching weird horror cult movies. So
And then that wound up turning into Lunchmeat on its own.
yeah, yeah, that Lunchmeat. That's what Lunchmeat was. We started the zine, called it Lunchmeat, and the first issue is, I mean, the first issue is always like experimental, right? It's a
Hmm.
VHS fanzine at first, but we also wrote about monster toys, and I made this recipe called the Twilight Zone peanut butter bacon burger. For like when he puts peanut butter on the burger, in the Twilight Zone movie. But then it got more refined and more focused, and it's just grown from there.
Why is it called Lunchmeat?
There's a movie called Lunch Meat, and we thought that it exemplified, what we were talking about. A movie
Yeah.
that was extremely low budget, popularized on home video, obscure, will never make it to DVD. That movie's still not on any sort of disc release, and probably
What
never will be.
Walk us through quickly. What is the plot of Lunchmeat?
A bunch of I guess they're supposed to be early 20 somethings go into the woods to go camping, and then they get attacked by a bunch of cannibal hillbillies.
So in essence, they are the Lunchmeat.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
The titular Lunchmeat.
Yes, exactly. And there's it's directed by Kirk Alex. We did interview him eventually. He hit me up on the internet and he was like, "Hey, cool name for your zine." And I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh shit, it's Kirk Alex." And
Yeah.
he was very very good sport about it. Lunchmeat stylized as two words in his movie, and Lunchmeat is stylized as one word. I don't even remember if I did that on purpose or not. Um, but John Kennedy was a big part of helping start Lunchmeat as well. He's a renowned noise artist, Jonathan Kennedy.
Uh-huh.
He was in Death Pile. He did Death Pile, and he was in Angel of Decay. He did Angel of Decay, um, things like that. So he helped us design the first issue. So yeah.
So when you were, I don't know, a kid or a teenager,
Uh huh.
when you were renting movies, was there a title or two that you just kept going back to? Was there like I'm just going to rent this again?
I mean, there's a lot like that, man. I think what we tried to do is like we always rented three, right? And it was like a
Yeah.
comedy tearjerker for mom. And then me and dad would pick out two. It's usually one we'd seen before that we really like. We rent Army of Darkness a lot. That was dad's favorite movie. Um, let's see. I mean, the Puppet Master movies. We loved those.
Uh-huh.
What else? I think Ernest movies. We rented those a lot. Um, but we really like to explore a lot. And that was what's fun about it is I would pick them out, and as like an 8-year-old, my dad like, "What'd you get, Joshy? What do you got here?" And he's like, "Let's see here, Microwave Massacre, huh? Okay, we'll see what that one's like." You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And stuff like that. But I mean, I think I don't know. My dad was my movie buddy, man. It was
Yeah.
so fun, so many fond memories. But as far as going back, like I wish I had those pinpoint memories more. But I mean, like when you're younger, only certain things stick out, and you can't really pick and choose what does. You
Sure.
know. So, I mean, I do remember renting a lot of Full Moon stuff in the 90s because it was
Hmm.
very popular and it was on the top shelf. And then I remember renting, stuff like a Basket Case or, like Blood Diner or, things like that.
So were you watching horror from like a young age? Was dad was cool with this?
I mean, me and my dad watched Faces of Death when I was like 7 years old.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, so my dad was the best, dude. He's really cool, dude, and like I was mature for my age and understood things and had a very wild imagination and
Yeah.
um I still remember I'm lying on the floor, you know, uh on the carpet in front of the big wood grain TV. My dad's, sitting there in the chair, he's drinking a beer, and like we're watching Faces of Death, and like it's the monkey, right?
Yeah,
Getting
yeah,
gets his brains bashed in or whatever,
yeah.
and he's like, "This isn't real," you know. And then like we continue to watch. He's like, "Don't worry, Joshy, this ain't real. It's not real, man." So like he was there to supervise, but
Yeah,
I always knew it wasn't real. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But I was scared to death of zombies. I was scared to death of zombies, dude.
What was it about zombies that was too much?
Tarman. Just seeing Tarman and Return
Yeah,
of the Living Dead scared the hell out of me, man.
yeah.
Like I
What an
just
image, right?
I mean I just the more brains when he turns around, like it scarred me for life. And like I had friends that would I was scared of zombies up until I was like, 13, 14, 15, man. Like it was kind of embarrassing at one point,
Uh-huh.
because it was so scary to me. And I'd be out like, 14, hanging out in the woods with my friends, and people would like sneak up on me and be like, "Brr," and I'm like, oh my God.
Was there a part
So,
of you that was concerned that this was a real possibility?
well, yeah, because I mean, like, that's kind of why I loved horror movies, is because of the imagination and the possibility, right?
Yeah,
The idea of these two worlds crossing over was the fantastic, like, phantasmagoric, appeal of it,
yeah.
and I don't know if I wouldn't say like I didn't understand reality, but like it definitely, that's what fear does. It kind of shakes you up, and I don't know. I mean, come on, Tarman's terrifying, dude.
Oh,
Terrifying.
it's one of the greatest things ever committed to film.
I mean, I'll have to agree, and it is one of the most iconic, truly terrifying characters that I
Yeah.
know of. Yeah.
And I can't think of the actor's name off the top of my head, but the physicality, like the way that they
Hmm.
move their body is
Hmm.
just like
Creepy.
tremendous. Yeah.
Creepy. Yeah.
I mean, are you like me in that I mean, I can't think of anybody's name now, but the guy who wrote Psycho,
Hmm.
I
Robert
remember,
Block.
thank you. Remember seeing an interview with him on like AMC or something, and he said something that struck me. He goes, Frankenstein doesn't scare me, Dracula doesn't scare me, the Wolfman doesn't scare me, people scare me. And I remember thinking, wow, I'm the complete opposite. Like I don't find movies just about mortal average murderers. I don't because the idea being, well, that could really happen. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't seem likely. What scares me has always been the supernatural of like the stuff we don't know about. You know? Where do you fall in that?
I mean, I think that when Block said that, he was sounding more refined as an adult for horror, right? And like, I think that's maybe what he was going for. Who knows?
Mm,
But as far as my opinion is, yeah, I mean, monsters are terrifying. I mean, the
yeah.
idea of interdimensional beings that can, suck you into their own dimension and trap you there forever is way more scary to me than like some dude like knocking out your door with a knife behind his back or something. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we have similar imaginations in that way. You know what I mean?
It's certainly how I feel. I mean, it feels like I don't know. It's maybe it's just at a rudimentary level of well, it feels like if there's a murderer on the loose, there's potentially a solution. He might get arrested. I don't see how you like lock up the wolf man or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's uncanny and it is supernatural and it's beyond understanding.
And
Like
that's what it is.
someone,
That's the
yeah,
most real fear is because, well, I don't understand this.
right. And yeah, I think that's the crucial part of it, is like we don't understand what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And I see what Block is saying there. Like, man is the real monster, humans are the real monster. And that is true. Um, but also this, like you said, supernatural, or preternatural, or intergalactic, or any kind of or cosmic, like kind of horrors are terrifying because it's bigger than you.
Mm.
It's not you, and it's this unfamiliarity that it gives it this unpredictability and this kind of endless spectrum of what it could do or what could happen to you because of it.
Was there ever, I'm curious, was there ever anything Dad was like, no, we're not watching this?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah.
Um, my mom and dad were very open about, because as long as they kept assuring me that it wasn't real, you
Yeah.
know, like, honey, this isn't real. But I would get nightmares and stuff. I mean, Leprechaun scared the shit out of me as a kid, which a lot of people make fun of me because like a leprechaun's supposed to be funny, but man, that thing is scary as hell.
It is. It's
Um,
very unsettling.
yeah, I mean, he's scary, dude. I mean, when you're 10, come on. Um,
And again, it's
uh,
like you chalk it up to
Pennywise.
a brilliant performer, like
Hmm.
in somebody else's hands, maybe it would have been, there wouldn't have been 9 or 10 sequels because it's like, well, this is a little goofy, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, like the thing is, I don't think the first one was trying to be too goofy, and I think that's why people liked the other ones later because it became more of a horror comedy. But like Pennywise from It scared the hell out of me. I thought that thing was gonna pop out of my closet every single night when I went to bed.
And I find, you know, the Tim Curry version far more frightening because it's not trying to be scary, it's trying to, as I think that monster would, like trying to lure you in.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it feels human, but it's not. Like
Mm.
it's not a human.
Yeah, something's wrong here. This is
Yeah.
unset. Whereas, like, I think I don't have a problem with the new sequels that they made. Well, not sequels, but like the two movies that they made. But it doesn't work for me. It's trying too hard to be scary. Whereas it's like as an actor, I remember somebody saying, "Here's how you play drunk. You have to act like you're not drunk." So it's
Yeah.
like with Pennywise, that it clicks into my head where it's just like, here's how you be scary. You act like you're not dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Curry is a brilliant actor. I
Brilliant.
think that I think that is just undeniable, and I think he's playfully sinister, which I think is what makes him so creepy and makes him so scary. Is that you don't know what he's going to do next. Like one minute he's smiling, and the next minute he has like 64 razor sharp teeth that's going to rip your face off. And he chooses a clown, or they choose it, I guess. But he's like Scarecrow. He can like become whatever your deepest fear is, and I think
Mm,
that's terrifying, dude. Because it's not just like that's the mixture of human horror and cosmic or monster horror, is that it can get inside you and become whatever you're most afraid of. And like that's what's terrifying to me, and why that story resounds.
yeah, for sure. Um, when did were you buying movies right away, or was it when did you start buying up movies? When VHS became dirt cheap, or what was that like?
Whenever I could. So I didn't have a ton of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I usually, when I got allowance, I would rent video games, or um, I'd buy video games. The first tapes I ever bought were the Wayne's World Adams Family thing from McDonald's. Do you
Hell
remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Where you'd buy a Big Mac, and I used quote unquote my own money from like feeding the dog and cutting grass and stuff. And I bought Wayne's World and Adams Family.
That's fucking great.
But then after that, I'd buy used tapes at the video store. You could buy videotapes at the dollar store. You
Yeah.
know, you could buy like you could get good times copies of horror movies, or like sell through copies of I got my copy of Mother's Day from the dollar store. I remember buying my copy of Mother's Day at the dollar store, and there was like 60 copies of it on a shelf. Somebody was like, BFV was like, get these shit out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not selling anymore, so they sent them to the dollar store. Um, and then you started seeing it where, and when I got like 16, 17, people were starting to move their old video rental stock, and it was very cheap, like $1, $2, 50 cents. So I would buy a lot of tapes that way. Just old video stores getting rid of their stock, or like you go to flea markets and it was abundant. I mean, I feel like at one point you could walk through a flea market and find VHS tapes on every single table, and they were dirt cheap.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I had people begging me, like I'd buy like 5 or 6 tapes, and they're like, "Please, just take the whole bin for $10." And I'm like, "I'm not taking this whole bin."
Isn't it incredible?
I mean, yeah, it is. It is incredible. I mean, what time does to things, you
And
know?
I remember at the time feeling like I'm like I never there was never a time when I wasn't interested in collecting VHS tapes, you know?
Yeah, same.
And what happened to me was in that period of, 20 years ago when they became just dirt, just garbage. I was like, "Oh, I can buy a bunch of these now." And I remember maybe just to justify it to people or something, I'm like, well, I feel like I collect these like people collect records now, like vinyl. And I never really, I don't know if I believed it or not, but I was like, I could see this coming around again where it becomes perhaps a nostalgic thing for people, but it never was for me. It was always like, no, this is just what I enjoy getting my hands on, And then all of a sudden one day it was like, oh, why am I? You want $40 for this? What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, that's the reality now, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's amazing what time does to things, you know. And I have a timeline inside my head where it was garbage, and then I just kept doing work with Lunchmeat, and tapes started to get collectible, and you would go to conventions, and like, this is a really rare tape. This is $80. I was like, $80? Like, what are you on
Yeah.
crack, dude? Like, get the fuck out of here, And it's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, I have thousands of tapes, right? And at one point, I don't want to live in Raleigh forever, so I'd have to move, and
Yeah.
you know, I post a tape that I got for $2, in 2010, and somebody's like, "I'll give you $200 for that," and I'm like, "Okay, sounds good."
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the valuation is a whole different conversation. But I think it's interesting how people do value it. And I think it's also a mix of because like VHS is like vinyl, right? Except vinyl is hi-fi and VHS is lo-fi. I think everyone is kind of looking for an experience that feels real, that
Mm.
feels familiar, or feels tactile, right? Because now we're all zombified by these, 6-inch computers in our hands. And I think people just want to feel something different again. They want to experience films in a different way. I'm always a big fan of collecting physical media because it gives you complete autonomy on what you want to watch. You don't go into a portal and you're not prescribed. It might have like this vision of endless choice, but really it's just whatever that platform wants to put on their, you know, their selection, and all of it has an agenda because they're trying to get paid by somebody. However, physical media, it's secondhand. You can go around, you can really choose and curate what you have on hand immediately at all times forever, so to speak, forever. So I think it's really the only way to have full liberty when choosing what to watch when you want to watch it.
I agree. We should be movie buddies.
Well, I think we're becoming movie buddies.
uh, any recollection what kind of VCR you had growing up?
Mm, I think it was an RCA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, y'all ever fuck with Betamax?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
What about now? I mean, now that you're deep in.
Nah.
No?
No, it's just all VHS all the time. I have one beta. It
Mm-hmm.
is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on beta, the little guy,
Oh, beautiful.
because I found it and I was like, why would I not buy this for $2?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only beta I really have, I believe.
What kind of how many VCRs do you have now?
Hold on. 14.
Wow. You got me beat.
Well,
What's
I
your
mean, you got to stock up, baby. You
Well,
never
that is
know.
the thing is every time I see one, I'm like, I'm
Well,
like,
the
I'm
thing
like,
is, I have a little bit of know-how, and I have friends a little bit of know-how that can at least clean them,
yeah,
and repair them in that way, refurbish them in some ways, right?
yeah.
I have a lot of people that say, I don't, VHS is cool, man. I don't have a VCR. Where do I get one? And about 5 years ago, it was like, go to your thrift store. They're there. They're
Right.
$15. And now you go out and people, I mean, you look at TV VCRs going for $200 because
That
they're the ultimate package, right? And because
yeah.
people want convenience still, we do live in 2025. Convenience is royalty. And people want that. I don't know, man. I mean, like, because if you think about timelines, 5 years from now, how hard is it going to be to get a working VCR?
No doubt, And then it's because the guy I go to in Hollywood, um I'm like, how much longer is he going to be operating,
Yeah.
Because like I roll in with like because I couldn't believe it when I found it because the first Betamax machine I found, um, oddly enough, it was in Raleigh at an estate sale.
Hmm.
I brought it in. He fixed it. He's like, I got to see if I have the parts. He gets it running, and he's like, I have another one of these, the exact same model. If you like this one, I'll sell it to you. He sold that one to me, and then I actually found one. I think for like $40 at a Goodwill. I couldn't believe it. Brought it in to get that thing fixed, and he was like, the face he made when I brought it in, he was like, "Ugh," and I'm like, "Oh, you don't like this model? This one's no good." He goes, "No, this one's very good. I have to see if I have the piece, that we're gonna need."
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man, this is it's I suppose what I'm saying. This is what happens every time we bring the car into the shop. I'm like, all right, we got to take a mechanics class. We got to fucking figure out how to do this on our own.
Well, that's the thing is like self-sufficiency is always the best way to do it, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, I have friends. I've always, I've released things like VCR, TLC for your VCR, and it's instructions on how to clean your VCR and keep it healthy.
yeah.
Because once you have a reliable VCR, you want to keep it healthy. You want to take good care of it because it'll take care of you. And it'll like take. You can watch movies, and I mean, it's like, but I think that's the thing is like that's the biggest concern that I have is the actual hardware breaking down, not the
Right.
software. Right. So I mean, and I think that's the thing where we saw someone step up, like Jack White or whomever you want to pinpoint, and make vinyl again, right? And start making record players again. I mean, who's going to make a VCR again? The technology is far ahead now, and VCRs aren't that complicated of machines. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
like I feel like it's somebody could figure it out, but until then, we should educate ourselves on how to repair, clean. For the real tape head, they're essential. It's like having a car without wheels; you're just not going to go anywhere. And so, I mean, I just think like there's also a group of VHS collectors that don't even really watch their tapes, man. Like, I don't. I think that people collect for every different kind of reason, and I respect and think it's cool for every reason. But there's people that collect tapes that don't watch them. They just have them as objects.
Which I don't get. I don't want a trophy. I want
Right.
I want the full experience. That's a
Absolutely.
yeah. I don't know, but
But
mm,
I mean, I think it's more about what you want to watch, and that's why I look at tapes that go for like $250 in my collection that are readily available. That'll like Killer Clowns. Like everybody
yeah.
wants Killer Clowns from Outer Space, right? And that tape goes for hundreds of dollars now. Okay, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space is available. Like you can watch it, and but you want to give me $250 for this tape because of the aesthetic purposes or the collectability, right? Okay, fine. I don't need Killer Clowns on tape. because I can watch it elsewhere.
Yeah.
I like watching Killer Clowns on tape. It's fun. It's great to watch it on tape, but I'd rather have $250. You know what I mean? And you have to make decisions in your life as you become an adult. You know what I mean? And I think but movies like Lunchmeat or They Bite or things like that.
Yeah.
Uh, the Mutilator, uncut. Like that's on Blu-ray now, but I think it's out of print. It's like you keep these movies because how else are you going to really see them? You
Yeah,
know,
it's funny. I don't. It just comes to pass because this is what I enjoy doing, and it's what I've always done,
for sure.
collecting, VHS and DVDs and whatnot. And it isn't until someone points it out or they catch a glimpse when I'm showing off the collection or something. I don't know. Like, put it this way: people will often ask, "What's your most valuable tape or movie?" And I'm like, I don't know until someone points it out, that someone's like, "Oh, because it was even like, because I love the well, I'll pull this one since we're just talking about it, the midnight movie, like the MGM midnight
Killer
movie.
Clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And somebody was like, "Oh, Killer Clowns," and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I had no idea that anybody gave a shit or even remembered." And all I remember when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh, they're doing the song from the Jetsons. All right, this is up my alley." you know.
Yeah, dude.
Um, but yeah, like, to get hyper specific, like my jam is stuff taped off TV, just because I'm like, I love the treasure hunt of, well, what's on this tape? Well, what else is on this tape? Like, who was this person who taped it? Like, you get a little news break, you get a little, an ad for a movie that's coming out that week. You start to narrow down, like, oh, this is the exact date that this was recorded. I love that little treasure hunt aspect of the VHS, like the home recorded VHS, the used blanks.
Oh, same. I mean, it's a vision of ourselves, isn't it? It's a raw, unfiltered television broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it also tells about that person, like you said, did they want to see the commercials? Did they know how to skip the commercials? Did they not care if the commercials were on there?
Yeah.
What were they watching? And what did they think was worthy of being recorded? Because time shifting is what VCRs were about for a long time. And I think I've been studying and doing VHS stuff for a long time, and I think the most interesting aspects to it, right now for me, is finding other people's home videos.
Mm.
Like private record of like home videos, and also the stuff taped from TV. Because as we've seen over the past decade or so, like VHS has saved so much vital, uh, anthropological information, right, and just cultural information. Things that would otherwise go completely into obscurity or oblivion. So
100%. I can't think of the actor's name, and I'm trying to read her autograph. I know her first name is Katie, but she did the voice of Dumbo on Dumbo's Circus, which was an early Disney Channel show where they were all kind of puppets, and more than puppets, they were like people in costumes, right?
mhm.
And I found a tape that had an entire day's broadcast of the Disney Channel, and it had like Winnie the Pooh's Corner, which I was like, all these things popping up. I was like, holy shit, I remember these. It was like,
Man, yeah, was Winnie the Pooh's Corner, was that a live action people in suits?
exactly.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a bald guy with a mustache in a chair, being like, well, let's take a look at what happened to Pooh today, and then it's live action. They're in the costumes, right? And
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, I remember that now.
here's the picture of the Winnie the
The
Dumbo
Dumbo
show.
Circus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is, I posted on my TikTok, and somebody's like, a lot of these episodes are considered lost, and hits me with a link, and I'm looking at the link, and I'm like, huh, well, Yeah, this episode, at least according to, this random website, is considered lost. And then, as luck would have it, the next week I'm at an autograph show and I see the Dumbo picture on this woman Katie's sign. She's done a 1,001 voices, and she's like, "Yeah, I was the voice of Dumbo." And I was like, "Let me ask you something. Are those episodes? Obviously, they're not on Disney Plus, And if they're sitting in a vault somewhere, I'm like, I don't. Are those episodes considered lost?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They threw them all away." Um, she's like, whatever the production company was that had the rights to it, like the tapes kind of got bounced around, and then it got to the point where there was just like, we don't need this anymore. So it's like, God damn. And I was like, "Do you have anything on tape?" She's like, "I don't know, maybe. Let me get your email." But it's it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because it's you lose things. I mean, that's an inevitable part of media, right? Is there's lost media,
Mm,
and I think that as VHS holds the key to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
yeah.
VHS. One of my colleagues, um, he's starting up a thing called VHS Remembers Everything, and I really think that's a great brand name, really great way to present what they're doing.
Mm,
And it really does. It remembers everything, and it's the portal to so many different things, so many different places and memories, and and all media is a reflection of us at that time. It's a reflection of what people wanted or what people thought was a good idea or what they thought people wanted to see.
mm,
You know, and that live action Dumbo show, like from Disney Channel, like I mean, that is gold because that takes you right back, and it's amazing how that portal feels like a time machine, and
yeah.
especially because you're saving media. Like I don't know. I wrote an article in an issue of Lunchmeat recently, where like I talk about other people's home videos, right? Like video voyeurism. When you find somebody else's home video that they discarded, and what are the ethics of watching that? What are the ethics of sharing that? Because let's take it. It's like it's a punk rock show, right? And then it's the only live performance from this one band from LA that played like 10 shows, right? Nobody else has ever heard of it before. They don't have any records, things like that.
Mm,
Or you take it in a lot more obscure angle where like this is a sub shop's t-shirt that this guy's wearing that is a local sub shop that existed for 25 years, is legendary in the area, but nobody else really knows about it, and there's no other traces of it. You know what I mean? Because the sign's destroyed, like all that other stuff is gone except for this one t-shirt that this guy's wearing in this one clip of this one video. And I know that's granular, but I'm saying like that's history. Like that's something that proves that its existence. And that's definitely why I started stuck on VHS, is because those little stickers on former rentals are sometimes the only way you can really prove that a video store even existed at this point. Like
yeah.
particular video stores even existed. Not the idea of them, but you know what I mean?
No, for sure. It's in some cases it's the only reason I will, when I'm going through
Yeah.
bins, it's the only reason I'll like a really common movie. I'm like, yeah, but it's got this sticker with this, Katona video in the Bronx, and I'm like, all right, well, fuck.
Well, I
Now
mean,
I,
that's the thing is like I feel the same way because
yeah,
you feel like you're like an archaeologist, like you're archiving this,
I do feel a. I try not to dwell on it, but I do feel a certain pressure sometimes, like at an estate sale, where I'm like, if I don't grab these, literally no one else is going to grab these, and whatever could potentially be lost that's on these tapes is going to be lost. Like this is going to wind up in the garbage if I don't do something. Now it could be. There's a couple of different ways you could look at that, but I also just try not to be too severe in the idea of, well, it's probably just soap operas. If there's anything on the tape at all. But once in a while you do get those, you know, like the
Well,
Dumbo Circus or like I found one tape. It was some guy had been to, I think, in Germany, and had seen, like, recorded it himself, like an early performance of some. I'll have to look it up. I'll. Everybody who's listening to this at some point will already know uh, who I'm referencing. But it was an early performance of this avant-garde composer,
Uh-huh.
and it ain't my bag, But I'm like,
Sure.
this is probably the only recording of this that exists anymore, And the only thing standing between it and a dumpster was my dumbass rolling in and being like, I'll give you $30 for the whole box.
Yep.
It's it's our burden, Josh.
It's a passion. It's a burden.
Right.
It's one of those double-edged VH swords. You know what I mean? I get it. I feel the same way. Like
Yeah.
I have, like I said, I have recordings of other people's lives. I'm like, I can't let these go. Like this is just such a perfect snapshot of 1992's North Carolina,
Right.
and it's like this is important. Like it feels important, right? I don't know to who or to whom or to what yet, but I think that we should start studying it as to why it is important. And I have been studying it and trying to talk about it. But I mean, you're like I said, I said the granular thing about a sub shop T-shirt, right?
Mm,
We talk about something a little more substantial, no pun intended, with the avant-garde performance.
yeah.
Like that's important to someone connecting pieces of history for avant-garde conduction. Right. That is an important piece of the puzzle. It's an important step, and using that piece of media to exemplify it to people will be important. It's like Exhibit Z or something. You know what I mean? And like I think that's what's exciting about it. And even though it can be pressurizing, like, oh my God, look at these 50 tapes. I don't want them to go into the dumpster, it's like I think after a while you have a discernment and you can articulate the way you want and choose, the way you curate your own collection and what you choose. You can't make the right decision all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just impossible. That's just life. And I totally feel that that sort of pressure that you're talking about because it's like, man, I don't want to leave this behind. So, you talk about stickers, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of figured out. I was like, I'll just photograph the sticker and then publish it. So that way the tape may go into, bye-bye land, but the image of it exists, so we know that it existed, that it's documented.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Um. Well, fuck, dude. I feel like we could talk all day.
Yeah,
Uh.
yeah, I know. I hope I'm not like,
No.
swerving you too hard here.
No. So what's next? Is there a new issue of Lunchmeat coming out? Is there a new issue of Stuck on VHS? Tell the people what's happening.
Tell the people how you feel. No. uh, there's always new stuff on the horizon, man. We do a lot of video releases. Lunchmeat does a lot of officially licensed limited edition video releases
Yeah.
of all kinds of different movies. I have a lot of exciting stuff coming up for that. We just did Video Lava Lamp, which was an in-house production. It's basically liquid light set to an original psych rock soundtrack, which I'm very excited about. It's available right now. Um, Lunchmeat 13 is pretty fresh. That's a great issue. Stuck on VHS, we'll see an expanded reissue sometime this year, which we're excited about. And right now, I think the thing that's most, we always like to experiment and grow. Um, one of my contributing writers for Lunchmeat and a great writer in general, Rob Fries, he wrote an original novel for us. And it's called Video Town, and it's about two warring video stores in the 80s. It feels like one of those 80s TNA comedies, like
Mm,
Meatballs or something like that,
sure.
that never existed but should have. Like, why is there not an 80s comedy about two warring video stores with a bunch of crazy characters,
It's brilliant. It's such a good
Yeah.
idea. I'm upset I didn't come up with it.
That's when you got to be buddies with somebody, right? You're like,
Uh-huh.
damn, we can hang out more. But no, it's brilliant. It's really funny. There's there's a soundtrack to it. You know what I mean? We're going to put it on Spotify so you can listen to it if you wanted to get the vibe, because it's all real songs, right?
Yeah.
And, there's references to the Ghoulies inflatable toilet because it's era appropriate. It's in the store, posters everywhere. And it's just pitch perfect in tone. We're very excited. We don't know how it's going to be received since it's a novel, but we're very excited to publish some original fiction, set in the era that we celebrate and preserve.
That's beautiful. Where can the kids find you online?
Lunchmeatvhs.com. And then on the social medias, it is at LunchmeatVHS.
Beautiful. Well, I thank you so much.
Thank you.
From dream to product in 2 years. Those were the exact words of Frank Stanton at a champagne party in 1972. It was the year Nixon went to China. It was the year man last walked on the moon, or at least most recently walked on the moon, as far as we know. And it was the year that the very first home video system became available for purchase anywhere in the world. And this was not in Japan, as every other VCR afterwards was produced. It was here in the USA. Cue the wrestling fans chanting USA. This was a full 3 years before Sony released the Betamax player onto the world and changed absolutely everything. And there had been a few brief, unrealized attempts at a home video market. There was the EVR, there was the holotape, there was the Sony U-Matic, which was a very efficient system, but they weren't able to break into the Hollywood movie market. Hollywood was not interested in giving away their movies, because that's the way they saw it. You don't give away your movies. And it's true if you think about it. When you go to a movie theater, the movie theater doesn't own the movie. They're just leasing it for a little while. Well, that was the case with Cartravision. This home video system figured out a way to make the Hollywood studios feel comfortable with their movies being in someone's house. So how did it all happen? Playtape Incorporated were the developers of the Cartravision, and they formed a company called Cartridge Television Inc., or CTI. And under the leadership of Frank Stanton, they went ahead and got funding from Avco, which was a arms manufacturer who were looking to diversify their investments. As a matter of fact, they had recently purchased a independent motion picture studio, Embassy Films. So they became Avco Embassy. Embassy had just had their biggest hit. In fact, it was the biggest movie of the year, called The Graduate, with Dustin Hoffman. Maybe you heard of it. Anyway, they wound up selling. Avco Embassy was, they were an indie. They were an indie studio, and they produced some movies. I would say most notably Phantasm.
Phantasm. If this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead.
But they agreed to dump millions of dollars into this idea. They turned a former weapons plant in Richmond, Indiana, into a facility for manufacturing recorder player units. They also built a cassette and recording head factory in San Jose. They were up and running, but the thing that sealed the deal was Cartravision was able to convince major Hollywood studios, and this is before Andre Blais, to put their movies on video cassette. But they weren't for sale, and that's the difference. Andre got them to sell the movies. Not the case with the Cartravision. And one of the guys working at Cartravision, Paul Keene, had just left Sony in 1971. And he brought that expertise with him of the technical design, the marketing, and he was able to leverage his contacts at Columbia Studios to broker the licensing deal that allowed Cartravision to distribute tapes of many Columbia movies. We're talking Casablanca, It Happened One Night, Dr. Strangelove.
Well, now, what happened is one of our base commanders, he had a sort of, well, he went a little funny in the head. You know, just a little funny. And he went and did a silly thing.
I mean, come on. Kubrick. You know I'm a Kubrick mark, kids. The Cartravision worked just like the VCR we came to know and love. You could play, you could record, you could rewind, you could hook a camera into it and make a home movie. You could plug a microphone into it. It was the works. It was everything you wanted. You could purchase pre-recorded videotapes and watch them at your convenience. You could purchase blank tapes and record things off of TV. But you couldn't buy and own major motion pictures. You could watch them, but you had to rent them. See, there were two different kinds of Cartravision tapes. There were black tapes, which were like the blanks that you could record, or, you know, different pre-owned, like a fishing tape or a cooking tape, things like that. The movies, though, they were red tapes, and you could rent them and watch them once, and only once. You were unable to rewind these tapes. You had to send the tape back to the store for them to rewind it. You rented this movie, you got one viewing. That's it. This is a movie studio's wet dream. I mean, the fact that this didn't become the standard is incredible to me. I say it all the time. If these studios had been able to figure out a way to sell us movies that would then self-destruct, they would have done it in a heartbeat. So truly, this was the first thing Cartravision had going against it. The next thing they had going against it was, for whatever reason, they decided they weren't just going to sell the VCRs, the Cartravision machines. They were going to sell an entire television unit with a 25-inch color TV with giant wood cabinets. These gargantuan, giant, picture, if you're over the age of 40 or 50, picture your grandmother's TV set, this giant monster in the room. And those things were going way out of fashion in the early 70s. By 72, it was not cool to have one of those giant monster TVs anymore. And Sony did this too a couple years later. The first Betamax machines were built into the TV set. So now, the next phase, now they got to sell them. And so the first thing that they did, they managed to get 18 Sears Roebuck retailers in Chicago to sell the Cartravision system. All the Chicago newspapers, they ran double spread ads that said, "A complete home entertainment and learning center for you." But apparently one of the major problems with selling the Cartravision system were the salesmen at Sears. They didn't know what the hell it was. According to James Lardner in his book Fast Forward, Hollywood, the Japanese, and the VCR Wars, which has a fantastic section all about the Cartravision, as well as Joshua Greenberg's book From Betamax to Blockbuster. And I quote, "They knew how to talk furniture. They could tell you how to turn on a TV set and turn it off, but they had never run one of these things, and they hadn't been trained how to do so. It was a mess." And apparently the cassettes weren't even sold where the units were. They were on a different floor. Nobody had set up a system for the rentals. So you couldn't even rent the movie, because keep in mind, it's 1972. There's no video rental stores. That idea doesn't even exist. Even though part of the Cartravision selling point is that you can rent movies. Could I do that at Sears? No. Well, how do I rent the movie? Well, you got to call this number. When you get the number, they'll mail you the movie, and then you get to watch it once. You can stop it, but you can't rewind it. So, God forbid there's, somebody down the hall who breaks their leg and you got to pause your movie. You can't rewind it and pick up where you left off. Then when you're done watching it, you got to mail it back. Sounds completely convenient, doesn't it? But I love that idea of you're in Sears trying to buy one of these things, and you're like, so how does this thing work? And the sales guy's like, I don't really know. You can turn on the TV here. Oh, well, I already have a TV, so maybe I'll just come back when that TV breaks? Because the other big problem with selling this as a giant unit is the people who could afford this system, and keep in mind, reports are it was retailing for $1,300 to $1,600 in 1972. It's about 12 grand in today's money, kids. So anybody who could afford that, they already had a color TV at home. And the people who are interested in it, apparently none of them would qualify for credit at Sears. But luckily Cartravision was like, oh, no, we're going to be selling a separate unit just to play the videos really soon. Well, don't try too hard. And even if people were able to afford it, even if people were buying these things, and some people did buy them, the machine wasn't all that great to begin with. The cassette itself, it didn't look like a videotape with the two reels. It had two reels, but they weren't next to each other. Like if you picture a videotape, a VHS in your head, it has the two reels next to each other. Cartravision, the reels were on top of each other. And one reel would spin in one direction, and the bottom one would spin in the other direction. And the tape on top, it ran diagonal, not totally straight across. And apparently that's where they would constantly be jammed up. And according to Peter Keene in the book From Betamax to Blockbuster, the fabrication process for the cassettes, which involved sandwiching together a strip of blank tape and a master, then passing an electrical current between the two to create a duplicate of the original, resulted in such poor audio quality that once hand-assembled into the cassette, the audio needed to be erased and re-recorded. When asked about it years later, Frank Stanton said, well, we had a lot of color dropouts, but basically it worked just fine. You gotta love that. You can see it. It's better than just looking at static. Well, apparently the image wasn't very fine, and a lot of people who did watch these units said that the image would just jump around like crazy. And so that's all in the summer of 72. By November of 72, when they're getting ready to sell how many more of these things they wanted to get out there, because they had announced plans to produce up to 50,000, and by the end of the year, they'd sold 2,500. So Christmas was going to be a big push. Problem is, in about November, they realized, wait a second, all of the tapes we have sitting in our warehouse, and I mean all of the tapes, every tape they had, in the warehouse, in stores, probably in people's houses too, for whatever reason, and they still don't know what the reason was, they just started to fall apart and completely decompose. That's the entire inventory. The entire inventory was defective. And if you played one of those tapes in one of the machines, it could completely destroy the heads of the player. So now they have to recall all the tapes that they've already sold to people. But Frank Stanton was not going to be deterred. He was a hard-nosed guy. Apparently years later in the 80s, after this whole debacle was over, he was quoted as saying, "The more I think about it, had we been able to continue, we would have dominated the industry today." Which, I just love that logic of, if we were still in business, we'd still be in business. He's like, if we had only gotten $10 million, that would have made all the difference. And I'm like, yeah, well, if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike. But I'm getting ahead of myself. March 73, they're going at it again. They're going to set up 130 store test markets in California, from San Francisco all the way down. And they're not just in Sears now. Now they're in Montgomery Ward, they're in Macy's. And the rule is, not one of these stores gets to put a single unit on the floor until they personally train every single one of the salespeople to show them how to use the damn unit. And what's great is there's an account on YouTube called Video Lab Guy who has a CartraVision user manual video.
Welcome to the wonders of cartridge television. This is your new Sears Cartridge Television Center, your own electronic miracle that turns your home into a personal television theater with a world of programming at your fingertips, captured on videotape and packaged in convenient, easy-to-use cartridges awaiting your selection. To tape any television program, place a cartridge of blank tape in the player holder, just as you would to play a pre-recorded program. It's like packaging time. It's magic, all right.
Yes, it's magic, all right. I love that. Here's how to use the machine. We put it on a video. So if you want to figure out how to watch a video, watch this video first, and now you'll know how to watch a video. But even though they had maybe about 8 weeks of pretty decent sales, the writing was already on the wall. The fact is, they were just spending way too much money. They had a gigantic, state-of-the-art, high-speed duplication system ready to handle all what they were projected to be producing years down the line. Unfortunately, they just weren't making a ton of tapes because they weren't selling a ton of tapes. They weren't reproducing shit, and they're paying for all this stuff. Also, they had started a nationwide marketing operation, even though they were only for sale in Chicago and in California. And they'd taken on about 300 employees in all these offices they had in Palo Alto, New York. They had to settle out of court with Ampex on a patent lawsuit, which was costing them a minimum of $300,000 a year in licensing fees. And then the final nail in the coffin. Avco executives took a trip to Japan, and they saw a demonstration of Sony's next big thing, the Betamax video recorder. And although Sears was ready to go nationwide with the CartraVision, Avco decided, nah, we're going to pull out our money. And they ate about a $48 million loss. 1973, $48 million loss. And then that was it. Frank Stanton tried to bring CartraVision to a bunch of different manufacturers, but it was done so. And thus ended the weird, strange trip of the very first home video system. R.I.P. to Frank Stanton. R.I.P. to his baby, the CartraVision. All right, I'm at Video Theater in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I'm here with its owner, proprietor. Tell the kids who you are and what you do.
My name's Janice Turk, and we've owned Video Theater since 1984.
This location?
This location came about 8 years after we opened in Coeur d'Alene, yes.
Okay, so you expanded? This is a bigger location than what you started with, or what happened?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Video, when we first started, was pretty much unheard of in our area here.
And you have 2 locations?
We still have 2 locations, yes.
So I guess the obvious question is how do you do it? It's 2025. Are you the last game in town?
Actually, Coeur d'Alene still has what used to be a Hastings Video. It's now called Entertain Mart. So no, there's another game in town.
Really? You can rent videos there?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Rent or buy. Mm-hmm.
Kidding. Wow. But I it's incredible. But you have 2 locations. Pretty, I mean, how far away is Post Falls? Like 10 minutes?
7 miles. Yeah.
So how do you do it?
Well, when video was strong back in the late 80s and 90s, we realized that the biggest part of our income was going to real estate. Mm-hmm. So we purchased some, and that's how we do it. We own our business stores now, and yeah, just are careful. We run a very small scale, and that's how we do it. We've got good, loyal customers that still like coming, and new people coming all the time. And so we're just hanging on.
That's fantastic. I mean, so what do you find is like is there a particular genre, or is it just strictly new releases? I mean, how are you finding that you're competing against, the streamers and whatnot?
Well, that is difficult because it's always been new release driven. And since COVID, new releases are few and far between. And that has picked up. So I have to say this box office season has made things look a little more hopeful. But basically, it's such a varied group of customers now that it's people looking for things that they've never seen from the past. Those would be people in their 20s that have just heard about movies. And then it's older people, who are looking for new things that have come out that no longer go to theaters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you find it's being in a more rural area like this that helps, do people not typically enjoy the streamers, or is it just we've always rented videos, so we still go rent movies, What do you attribute it to?
I don't know, because the majority of people do stream around here. That's not it. It's just, I think there are still people here who had businesses themselves, or who still just like to support a local business, or who just want to come in and have the connection of talking to somebody.
I mean, that's the big thing for me, because it's not just a big building full of movies. It's, you get a real experience, like with people. I also find there's something lost being able to watch anything I want at any time without the browsing and without, honestly, going to the store and the movie I wanted to see is out. Now I'm like, well, I'm going to find something else. And now I'm with somebody who can potentially help me with that,
Right. I think there's a lot of that. And I think, too, that here in North Idaho, some people have kind of relocated here to escape what's everywhere else. And so they've kind of come in, even if they have a young family now, and it would be easy to sit and let their kids scroll on the phone. They're kind of not wanting that for them. They want more what they had. Yeah. And we see a lot of that with the influx of people coming in, and it's affordable.
Sure. Of course. So it opened in 1984? Mm-hmm. Who opened the store, you or?
My husband and I. We both had other jobs, but we read about something in a trade magazine that was going to be up and coming and decided, well, why should we not try it? We both liked movies, and we just, the opportunity at the time to expand everywhere was right there for anyone, and it was important to us to be with our children some, and so we had the 2 locations and just worked hard at it. And
And it's always been a family business?
Yes. Yeah.
Any idea, like at the height of video stores, how many different video stores were there in this area, would you guess?
Oh, gosh. Probably 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Just like dedicated video stores, not like a hardware store and a...
Yeah. We used to even have, there were like weekly meetings between all the owners of video stores where you just get together and talk about things. I mean, it was a little community, It was just not so much competition as this is just a cool thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what would you talk about? Like trade secrets, or this distributor's a jerk, or?
No, I think, it was just like what we'd get together and talk about, just things. It wasn't so much even trade things, just, it was a little community of, mom and pop stores.
That's incredible. What was, in your, because, gosh, we've already passed, you're in the 41st year now, huh?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's scary. Those milestone numbers are getting very high.
Yeah. What was the big movie, you think, in your time here? Like this was a phenomenon that everybody was trying to rent this movie.
Oh, I would have to say the very first really big one was when Ghostbusters came out.
Really?
Yes. And there were people, at both our locations, like lined up
They were lined up outside?
to get Ghostbusters. And it was just like this craziness. Yeah. It just was so exciting. Yeah. And then there were several after that that people always wanted. But that one was like the first one where we just were kind of shocked, like, oh my goodness.
And that would have been very early on.
Yeah. Probably a year and a half after we were opened. Yeah.
That's incredible. What about, did you ever go to, they used to have like kind of trade conventions for the video store owners by like the studios and stuff?
Right.
Did you ever go to those?
Yes, we did. Yeah, they would have them in Vegas yearly.
Yeah.
And they'd pull out all the stops. Yeah, have the movie stars there and, lure you to their studio one way or another. And it was great. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that aspect of it because I don't think people realize or appreciate how it's like once the studios got on board, because they fought fought against rental for a while, right?
Yeah, they sure did, and I think a couple of the studios took it to court, and of course I can't even remember what it was, right of first something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the first purchase or something like that.
Yeah, it gave you the right to rent things. But once they got on board, it was great. They sent, all kinds of things with movies. It was just, it was a lot of fun. And then the middlemen, the distributors, there were, 20 of those always fighting for your business that would, it was just a lot of fun. Yeah. It's sad that whole thing has disappeared.
Yeah, when did you start seeing that kind of fade out or phase out?
In like 2010 on, probably. Really? The last 15 years. Yeah. It wasn't totally phased out till COVID, but as far as any promotional stuff that the movie studios would, freely provide, that kind of thing, it had started to disappear.
Yeah, because you see like a lot of collectors with like big cardboard cutouts that they used to get, or like just stuff on the counters.
Yeah, that's not available.
It's incredible.
It is. Yeah, it's sad. Sad for me anyway. A lot of people don't see any value in that, but it was a big time for a huge period of people raising their families.
For sure. Was it purely, you mentioned you and your husband enjoyed movies. Was it purely like, oh, this seems like the hot new thing? Or were you like, I'd like to be involved in the movie business on some level? Like, what was it that drew you to it?
We just were young and thought we could do it.
Turns out you could.
It turns out so, yes, yeah. And now we don't know how to stop. So there you go.
Right. Does it seem like there's an end in sight? Or you were mentioning before, because you have the CBD oils that you sell here as well. Is that to supplement how the business has changed, or was it purely just because you enjoy using it?
Yeah, it's because it works for people. Mm-hmm. That's why we brought it in. Yeah. And anything you can make obviously helps in any business. But more than anything is just, you get to an age where you should be retiring because all of your friends have.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And those numbers are getting big.
Right.
So, yeah.
Who knows? What do you see for the future of video theater?
I don't really know. I do know from having children who now, are in their mid-30s, it costs a lot to live right now. And there is no way, like everyone says, well, have your kids run it. That would be impossible.
Why is that?
You cannot make the type of money on video now that you need to support even coming close to buying a home in North Idaho. Yeah. It's gone insane. Yeah. So I don't know where people do make the money to live here, but it wouldn't be in a small business.
Right. Well, what about you've got the night drop box.
We do.
You ever get anything odd in the night drop box? One morning you come in and you're like, this isn't a movie.
Yeah, well, we won't go into some of the odd things, but
some very odd things have wound up in there, huh?
But it is surprising how many times I'll get here and there'll be a box by the door, and it'll be, VHS tapes or DVDs, just something that sometimes they'll leave a note that they just didn't want to take it to the dump.
No kidding.
The dump. This is our livelihood.
Right.
Yeah, but no. So, yeah, there's always surprises.
Do you have some customers who have been here since day one? Still?
Well, we do. I mean, we've seen, if you look at the math in 41 years, a lot of people, when video started, they were like in their 50s because, VCRs were $1,200.
Right.
And so it wasn't for a lot of young families jumped onto it later, but a lot of them were people who, were 50 years old and had some expendable income. And so those people are all gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have some customers that, are still alive, still kicking.
Any, how do you deal with the crazies? Any crazies come in and you're like, uh-oh, here comes Crazy Larry again. Anybody like that?
It's just part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it fun. Yeah. There's that's part of it. There is a huge community that people don't think about that have no one, and they can come here.
Right.
Yeah. It's different if they're destructive crazies. But there's the police for that.
Uh-huh.
And they're good. In a small community, you can call them and just say, I'm not feeling comfortable, and they'll come.
Yeah.
It's just, but there's a lot of crazies who just need someone.
It seems like a very family-friendly environment. You never had the back room with the beaded curtain, or is that at the other location, or what?
Well, so, originally that was a big part of home video and originally when we opened, we did have a room that was off to the side of the main floor. And then we went to a notebook that had some X-rated things. And then it became a big thing where some of the actors in these films were not of age. And we just kind of phased out of that because we didn't want to have to start policing something that is not ours. But yeah. And now, you rarely get asked about it because it's accessible on your phone.
Right. What do you have a favorite movie?
Oh gosh. Sometimes it changes.
Of course.
I think I would have to go with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at this point.
We quote it to each other all the time. I'm referencing Pete Holmes. He's over there.
It's the best. Yeah.
This morning, when we were leaving for here, we were like, let's leave at 10, and Matt went, in the car, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That is exactly.
When we were leaving this morning, I was like, 10 a.m., out the door, in the car.
You just made me feel like I was 16. It feels so nice.
I'm glad you said that because we have a lot of customers or people who were customers when they were 16 that stop back in and they just go, I just need to smell this place. And get grounded for just a minute because my life is crazy out of control. And we're just like, well, smell away. It's fine. But they're just like, because we're using the same, our software, we opened before computers. And so our software is written in 1987 by a local company in Cheney, Washington.
Really?
And so, it's hooked up to dot matrix printers. And it's worked. We've kept the same. Yeah, we're simple people.
Because that's what I was reading. In addition to, just their acquiring different locations, Blockbuster, that they had that first, the fast computerized in and out system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't go fast.
What's your top speed for checking out a movie?
I just couldn't tell you. It would have to be someone who's hard of hearing and mute because it usually involves a lot of conversation.
What is this here? The Video Log Trade Service publication?
Oh my gosh. Well, it used to be, each month they would send an update on how you would look up movies by actor, by genre, by director, That was before we were before computers.
Right, sure.
Internet. So yeah, that was every month we would get an update. It was something, a subscription that we had, and we've just kept it out there for fun for people to look at.
What year is this one from, do you think?
Oh, I wouldn't even know. Yeah.
Probably the most recent one they put out. I mean, this thing is it's like 2 phone books.
What does this say up here? I just can't tell if it has a date. Maybe down in the corner.
Maybe 2001.
1981
It
to
says
2001.
81 to 2001. So this is a list of everything that's on home video
At that point.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, it's way cool.
So I'm seeing a lot of VHS here. You still rent a lot of VHS?
Surprisingly we do, and there's kind of a retro thing going on with some of the 20-somethings that like the 80 era's movies because they were happy movies, and the horror was horror.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and so there is a lot, and we've tried to, as the format changed, we had thousands of VHS tapes that we ended up pulling separate from their box art. So that's a process, yeah. But we've tried to keep a copy of everything that we had available for rent.
On VHS?
Mm-hmm.
That's a brilliant move, because I think most businesses, most stores, when they updated to DVD, they would have dumped it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, we're just, I guess, hoarders. I don't know.
I mean, I was just looking at the Disney section over here and seeing those big clamshells, but like, you're not kidding. Every section does have VHS on the bottom of the shelves.
Right. I think the only one that doesn't is the documentaries, the special interests. We had to forfeit some for space.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
How soon did you get out of renting Betamax?
Oh gosh, we thought that would be the winner. Sony was
better.
Betamax.
It was better.
Yeah, and Sony was Betamax, and who would have thought? But I don't know the year for sure. I think we had Beta for probably the first 4 or 5 years, as strong as we did the other format. But yeah, who would have thought?
Did you rent Laserdiscs?
No. But there was a Laserdisc store in Post Falls at the time when we opened.
What do you mean a laser? Like they rented Laserdiscs?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Amazingly. Yeah.
What was that place called? Do you
I
remember?
don't remember. No. Or they opened shortly after we did. I can't remember, but yeah.
They were Video Theater. They spelled it differently.
Yeah.
Do you have membership cards still, or
We don't have membership cards anymore. We have a business card still, but we do not have membership cards.
where's the business card? Can I have one of those, please? Wow.
Right.
How many? I'm putting you on the spot. How many of the different video stores in this area could you name off the top of your head? Even the chains,
You mean you want me to name them?
Sure.
So there was Video Station was open when we opened. Mm-hmm. There was Videonics in Coeur d'Alene. There was Pastime Video. There was a big one, independent, that I can't even think of the name now. So that embarrasses me because they were really
a local one.
Yeah, I just can't think of what they were called. Sure. I remember where they were. And then, of course, there was Good Guys Video out of Spokane that opened like 100 locations. Just
really?
Yeah. And they were $1 a movie. And it just didn't last very long. Yeah.
They couldn't sustain that.
Yeah. And then, of course, Blockbuster came in. Mm-hmm. Hollywood Video came in. Hastings came in. And with each of those, we were just like, oh, no.
Sure. Did you ever get approached by one of the? I mean, what was there? I mean, probably. Did you ever get Did Blockbuster ever try to come in and take over, or was their philosophy just we'll outlast them because we're Blockbuster? Did you have a sense of what their? Because you must have viewed them as the enemy, right?
Well, we kind of did, but then we also knew that, at least in the beginning, that the more exposure to it, the better.
How do you mean?
Because there were a lot of people who really didn't understand the concept of what home video really was, and so right in the beginning, it's kind of like the coffee stands now in our area. They're on every single corner.
Yeah.
And so you just feel like, well, I've got to have one then. If they're everywhere, I've got to have one, even if you don't drink it and don't like paying $8 for a cup. But so it really wasn't until all the independents kind of started going out that the big change, you realize that you should be more afraid.
Yeah.
We just weren't,
Why? Because you own the building and the land?
Well, no, I think we just kind of knew that, when you're small, you can make adjustments if you need to. And when they started doing things like, rent anywhere, return anywhere, pay us $50 a month and take as many movies as you want, you can run those numbers yourself and see that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it would be short term.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, we could also go without a paycheck if we needed to.
Right, because
it's your own.
It's your own.
Right.
That's incredible. I'm so grateful and really honored that you let us come in here early before you open and, take a look around. Do you remember who designed your logo? That's always been the logo you had since day one?
So we probably got that about the second year. And it was a company in Post Falls. Actually, it was a customer. And he just said, hey, I've got a really cool idea.
Oh, shut up. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, right. Yeah. And so that's just what it's been. And we've stayed small. And we kept the Please Rewind.
I love it. The DVD says to please rewind.
Because our covers were on the VHS cases. And our youngest daughter was a sixth grader who knew it all at the time. Yeah. And we were going to change. And she said, you're filling the landfill with these and the dye just because it says please rewind. And we just thought, you're right.
Yeah.
You are right.
Right.
I know.
The last thing I'll ask you about is I didn't know this until well into collecting VHS tapes. They can get mold in them. Has that ever been an issue for you? It must have been.
No, it hasn't. And I don't know if it's because, the majority of their life they've been in a plastic container somewhere, or if they are in their artwork like they are in the store, it's pretty climate controlled.
Yeah.
We don't have a ton of humidity. So, no. And we've never had, they always said that the magnetic part would come off and you wouldn't, other than damage from the tapes ripping, we just haven't seen it.
I mean, yeah, because the best thinking, like when you opened, the thinking was these tapes are only going to last maybe 15, maybe 20 years.
Right. Well, when we opened, we thought if we can get 5 years doing something like this, that's what we'll do. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I have found things taped off of TV from, I was born in 1979, like recorded months before I was born. And they look great because it was on an expensive, high quality VCR on like high quality, high grade tape. It looks better than some stuff that's like on YouTube right now,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. We just haven't seen it, seen a problem with it. And when we opened, we had 250 tapes, I think. And we still got, I would guess, probably 230 of them.
Of the original 250?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I know. We were so stupid. Well.
Why do you think you were so stupid?
No, we weren't. It was just, we went into it pretty blindly.
Yeah.
And, we headed over to Seattle with our 280Z car and filled the back of it up with tapes and came back. And it was just like, oh, my goodness.
Where did you go buy those first tapes? You remember?
So it was, let's see. It was a suburb of Seattle. And I think Comtron was the name of the distributor at the time. The distributors changed names so many times and we always stayed. I mean, we have the same window washer that we've had for 40 years.
That's
They
incredible.
just don't change. Yeah.
Where do you buy your DVDs and Blu-rays now?
So it's just kind of varied sources now. You have to hunt and peck for them.
Sure.
And there's scammers, just like in everything. So that's interesting. And that gets wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Not to trust people anymore.
Well, this place is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is if somebody was going to picture a video store in their mind, this would be it. I love what are those Magnavox TVs you got up there?
Yeah, and half of them still work. Yeah. And it's funny because gamers want them.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like, no, I want those TVs.
I know. Yeah.
Like, oh, no, not yet.
Such a market for the CRT TVs.
Yeah. I don't know. Go figure.
Yeah. Can I like one of your boxes?
Yeah.
Can I buy one of those from you?
have it.
I can have it. Oh, you are such a sweetheart.
Just make sure there's no
Yeah.
weird stuff in
This
there.
is so sweet. Thank you so much. Well, let me ask you, do you have the movie Companion?
I'm sure we do.
See.
Well, or we did. So let me see. Were you in that one?
I was in that movie, yeah. It's in mystery.
Well, it's mystery genre, but it's going to be one of two places.
Oh, there it is. There's Sophie.
You see
Yep.
right off.
There it is. Oh, my bad. There's Companion.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in that. I show up towards the end of this.
Nice. Well, that is awesome.
Yeah. I'm also in it's probably in comedy, The Other Guys.
Oh, yeah, that is a funny movie. Oh,
Yeah.
see, that's the kind of stuff we need. Those are the kind of movies. Why has comedy disappeared?
Well,
And I'm asking you that,
Right.
right? But that's what's so tragic about the movies these days. Look at these look at the covers. Yeah.
know.
Who wants to watch them?
I mean, they've eliminated the mid-budget movies.
Yeah.
They've like all the covers are, it's all homogenized. It's all like one person.
Right.
You know what? Somebody pointed out, they were like, especially with horror movies, it apparently, like, because of the red box, those goddamn things. You've outlasted Redbox.
I know.
How does that feel?
It makes me feel very old, is how it makes me feel.
But somebody did the research. Just a close-up of an eyeball is somehow eye-catching. No pun intended. Eye-catching on the Redbox thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We get movies now where they don't even go to the trouble. And it was one of the ones we just got this week, and I just wanted to send it back. It wasn't that one, but it's like they don't even try.
There's nothing on the back.
Yeah. Okay. Look at. Yeah. Would you want to watch this movie?
I mean, if I saw that, I would be like, this feels like I bought it on the subway in New York, you know?
Exactly. They didn't even go to the trouble of telling you what it's about. I mean,
Who is this? Rooster. The Rooster. Do better.
there's a lot like that now.
I haven't heard of this.
People
Do you
accept less.
Do you still watch everything that comes in just so you can recommend, or?
Don't anymore. No. I've gotten behind because I am old.
So how do you pick? You just pick it purely based on the numbers?
Well, we just and what's available and trying to find stuff, that looks like it would, We look at, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb,
Right.
that kind of thing, but basically we're just trying to keep some stuff coming in that might interest people.
No, I mean, this is a great selection of movies. I mean, The Substance, unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah.
Hard Eyes, I just watched.
Was it good?
It is so funny.
Okay.
Our friend Josh Rubin actually directed that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's odd because that was always between horror and comedy. Those were the genres. Those were the movies. And, you had to search out. Action was always big, but there were a few action characters that people watched. It wasn't just like, oh, I want an action movie. And now you can't get a comedy to save your soul, it seems like. I can't stand it.
I'll never understand it.
No, it's the best of all. And
Somehow horror has managed to stay below the radar and still like produce quality stuff.
right. Well, I don't know about quality.
Well,
Yes. But
stuff that's interesting.
right. Yeah. It's got its following for sure, and a lot of people and a lot of ages of people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think a lot of things too, you've got the scrolling where people watch for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Netflix who have series that never end, that are just this. I look at them as an obligation. I don't want to be obligated to watch something else.
You are singing. My wife loves TV and I love movies. And she's like, you should watch this show. And I'm like, yeah, but I get this empty feeling, I think, when I'm like, it's never going to end.
Right.
It also feels like if it's a hit, they're going to start padding it out. And I'm like, I'm going to invest all this time and emotion if I get connected to these characters. And then I'm like, and for what? Where's it going? At least like a movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end, you know?
Right. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I just don't like the obligation of knowing it's coming again. There's more to it. I haven't finished. So, yeah. I just like movies. Yeah.
That's tremendous. Thank you so
You
much.
bet. Yeah.
God, this place is great.
Well, when you get back to LA, tell Hollywood to stop.
I will. Is this an older box? Is this what the original?
Sure, the original, yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, they came in white with a little area to put your label in.
This is tremendous. Yeah, this looks like a classic. Yeah.
I don't know that I have any of those, but if you want me to, I can take your address and mail you one.
I would love that. Yes. Oh my God, please. Yes.
Address, I would be glad to. If I
Oh,
come
let me
across
ask you.
the right one.
Because I had a friend in town, okay, and I don't know if she still has a membership, but she did at some point. And I was like, oh, and this is someone I haven't talked to in 20 years. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go buy Video Theater, and she goes, is that place a drug front? Do you get it? Do you get?
Yeah, a lot of people.
people assume.
say that. Yeah, well, you must be, and I'm just like, that is just too funny.
And I was like, I don't know. I spoke to the owner on the phone. She sounded lovely. I don't think she's a bookie or a drug dealer.
No, I know. I just haven't resorted to that yet. But I mean, there could be that time a coming. I don't know, but no.
People are suspicious of video stores. In this day and age, it's like, how are they still in business?
Right. Yeah, I know. I just don't know. Yeah. No, we're not.
Setting the record straight.
Yes. Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I've thanked you 20 times, but I'm going to thank you again.
Well, you're welcome.